Steady chill.
Here at COCK.
Ready?
All right, so we remember what to do now, right?
Yeah, let's do our vocal warm-ups.
So loud.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Everything Automotive Podcast brought to you by Imperium Racing. I'm Zach,
I'm Josh.
I'm Jet.
and today we're going to be talking about racetrack preparation.
Yeah, buddy.
So, if you want to go play with the big boys, as they say, then I think...
You're talking to the wrong people.
Oh, that's something else. So, yeah, if you want to go race your car, though, then this is the video to watch. We're going to talk about preparation for your car, how to sign up, and then we'll talk about some stuff you should and shouldn't do at the track and on the track. And to start that off with some car preparation, what's some stuff you should take care of, Jet, before racing?
Yeah. Well, hey, everybody. First time to the podcast.
That's true, he's new.
Welcome. I'm Josh.
I'm Jet.
Yeah, who are you?
So the biggest thing to start with is safety. Everybody thinks that to go to the track, or at least the biggest excuse you'll hear is that people are waiting to do modifications, big mods, whether it's an engine swap, a turbo kit, coilovers, whatever, to go to the track. And the fact of the matter is, doesn't matter what you bring, as long as it's safe and as long as it's serviced.
That's inspirational.
Yeah,
Thank you. I do my best.
you can do it. Anyone can do it.
Anybody can do it. You can do it. Talk to my buddy Zach here about bringing a bone stock, very high mileage car with no modifications except for the bare minimum to make sure the car was safe at the track. What did you have to do?
To race the 336,000 mile Integra that I bought recently, we did bare minimum, like Jet said, service, oil change, spark plug wires. Because obviously oil change, I didn't know when it had been done. You might as well do it. You don't want your engine to blow up. You know, there's good oil in there and enough of it. And then spark plugs, didn't know when they'd been done, so I did them. Spark plug wires, you don't want those to fail while you're trying to race or drive home. So just did that stuff as a basic maintenance. And then safety items, the only thing we did was tires and brake pads. That's really all you need to stay on the track. You just need to be able to stop and go around the corner, I guess.
Tires,
Yeah.
brakes,
Tires,
engine,
brakes, engine.
ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there's one thing you're going to actually upgrade, it would be just brake pads. And usually just for the front axle of your car, because a lot of cars don't have very good brakes, especially older 90s, early 2000s cars.
Yeah.
You're running anything newer than probably 2010. As long as all four of your tires are the same and they're in good condition, you can probably run the car as it is. I mean, I'll be real. My first, I think, 2 or 3 track days I did on a 500 treadwear all-season tire.
Oh, damn.
But they had lots of tread and they were safe. The car was slow and it made lots of screeching sounds, but
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
fine.
It made it.
When
You'll
we-
just get
yeah.
the screeching around corners, but I mean, if you start to lose control, you just slow down.
Yeah, when we picked up Zach's car, we looked at it, and I think all 4 of your tires were different brands, and they were all like super high mileage, plasticky.
Yeah, and the
So-
rears were old and cracking.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, 4 new tires for my car that are pretty decent tires, and I think they're 300 tread wear.
Yeah, 340 treadwear is a perfect tire that you can put some miles on to
I got
drive
them
to
for-
and from the track.
$400
Yeah, $400 is nothing
for 4 tires, and
For-
they were really good.
for
They
4
handled it.
performance tires. Yeah.
That's just 2/3 of your stimulus check.
Just 2/3 of your
Yeah.
stimulus check. The rest
You
you
got the
spend
money.
on
We know you got the money.
the rest you spend on your oil change and your ticket to the track, and you're there. Boom.
Yeah, honestly, I probably spent $200 on like maintenance parts, including the brake pads, because brake pads were only like $68, I think.
Yeah.
And then $400 on tires. So again,
Deals.
that's entry level like performance tires. So it's really cheap. A couple $100 on maintenance and brake pads. $600 and I'm there.
Yeah, and that's all you really need. The main thing that people really care about and you should care about is leaks. Check your car is leaking if it leaves a spot in your driveway, whether it's coolant, oil, diff fluid, trans fluid, whatever. You don't want any leaks from your car. Your car can burn all the oil in the world. In fact, most track cars burn a lot of oil. But you don't want to be leaking it because that's dangerous for you. It's dangerous for other people on the track. And it's probably the biggest no-no. You'll get fined if you actually drop oil on the track. So,
And everyone will be mad at you for making a mess, and then they have to shut down the track, and then people don't get to race.
You're that guy.
Yeah.
you're that guy.
That guy.
You get a reputation. And you don't want to have a coolant leak, and then you race your car, and then you blow it up because it gets too hot, or you blow a head gasket or something.
Exactly.
That kind of leads us into car prep as far as what to bring, is you want to bring some extra oil, right?
Yeah, if you have a car that you know burns oil, which I'm pretty sure both of our cars do.
Yeah, mine definitely does.
I bring a few extra quarts to be sure. You can bring a lot of water if you want in case you have a coolant issue, so you can put something in it to get the car home. Other than that, just generic hand tools like wrenches, screwdrivers, socket wrenches, socket sets. A big ass amount of zip ties is never a bad thing to bring.
And tape.
Zip ties and duct tape holds
And
race cars together.
If you can fit a jack, I mean, that's a good thing. Or if you have different track tires and wheels. If it's your first time, though, you're probably not going to have different wheels and tires. So you probably don't need a jack. But yeah, there's some basic tools and some basic shit tools like duct tape and zip ties.
Something to check tire pressure with is huge, even if it's just one of the $2 O'Reilly's little pop-out guys or something digital. If you can spring for something to fill them back up, like a little compressor, that's great. But most tracks will have something, or you can go to the nearest gas station once you're done and fill your tires back up, because you don't want to be driving home with your tires probably at like 20 psi. And speaking about the gas station, hugely important to come to the track with at least 3/4 of a tank, if not a full tank if you can. Your car will use a lot more gas than you think driving flat out on a racetrack. My car will go through more than half a tank. I get 10 mpg out of my Miata.
And you don't want to buy gas there.
Yeah, and 91 octane at a racetrack is usually like $5 to $7.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. So just find a gas station that's close to the track you're going to, and try and fill up as close as you can, that morning that you're going there. Thunder Hill is a great example. They have like a gas station on the freeway exit for Thunder Hill, so you can fill up like and save yourself a $2 a gallon at least.
Yeah, literally.
Half off.
Just make sure it's safe and not going to leak a whole bunch or blow up, and then make sure you can stop and steer, which is tires and brakes pretty much. Yeah. Maybe like seatbelts, make sure you have a freaking seatbelt that works.
Yeah, if your car is safe to drive on the street, then you could probably drive it on a racetrack.
Yeah. You also need a helmet, I guess. That's a little bit of preparation.
That is something we kind of forgot. A lot of places will supply helmets like at autocross events, not usually at like racetrack events that are run by organizations or groups or clubs. So you're going to need to get a helmet, and you're looking for a Snell, SNELL, not a dot rated helmet. It can be open face, it can be closed face, shield, no shield, whatever. It just has to have a Snell, probably 2015 or 2020 rating or higher. I think mine is a Conquer. I have an open face one I use for friends. It was like $120, and then my closed face was like $160. So that's probably your only big ticket item that you need to get besides the ticket to the track itself.
So maybe if it's your first time, you could try and rent one somewhere or borrow one from a friend, or if you have a friend running a different session than you, maybe you can borrow it, but that could be a little hectic trying to switch helmets in between. If you're going to do it more than a couple times, just, buy an entry-level helmet. You can get like Jet said, you can get a cheap-ish one that's still plenty safe. Yeah. It just has to meet the safety ratings for racing.
Money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So as far as signing up for an actual track day, you got to find an organization, group, club that puts on track events. On Grid is one that Jets use a lot. That's what the track event I went to was. I think there's a bunch though, right?
Yeah, I mean On Grid, Turn 8, Speed SF. They're like three of the big ones I can think of that are popular in NorCal and SoCal. A nationwide group is the SCCA, Sports Car Club of America. If you just go to their website, they break down everything they do, because they do everything from autocross to wheel, like professional racing. So you just go to their website, there'll be a section for track days, if that's like the easiest way to go look for something to sign up to do one. Because other than that, you kind of just have to find out about clubs from word of mouth.
It's a little bit to read through when you're trying to sign up. So if you know anyone that's doing it, like ask them who they go through or whatever. That's what I did with Jet. And then even when you go sign up, it's like a handful of pages of stuff you have to go through. You're not going to like accidentally sign up for a professional race or anything. There's enough things to go through where you'd be like, oh wait, nope, I don't qualify for this. So it's pretty obvious. You just have to read a little bit and find one local to your area. But there's a lot of them.
Yeah, and it is pretty easy. Once you find what you're looking for, you sign up for the right date. It leads you through a bunch of prompts, and it won't let you go through it if you don't fill it out properly. It'll ask you about a half dozen times how many track days you've been to and how comfortable you are, so you'll know where you stand. Because the biggest part of signing up is picking the right experience group, what level you're at. And it's usually beginner, low intermediate, high intermediate, low advanced, high advanced. And obviously for your first one, maybe your first couple, you're going to want to do the beginner group. A lot of people will be, I got a fast car. You're coming with a Corvette or something. Don't do that.
Or a
Camaro. Don't do that. It doesn't matter what car you bring. You want to start in a beginner group, because having a fast car does not mean you're a fast driver. It doesn't mean you're a safe driver.
Yeah, it goes off of racetrack experience, real racetrack experience, not driving on the street, not based off of how fast your car is. I think people might assume that. I kind of assumed that before ever, like going to an event with you. It's like, oh, faster car, faster group, but that's definitely not what it is at all. And I obviously did the beginner group last time. This was my first track event ever, and it was really good, honestly. On Grid had it set up really well, and I enjoyed it a lot. So
if you enter a higher group than you should be, and you're probably just gonna annoy everyone anyway in that group.
Yeah.
You're gonna be like the
Yeah.
S14.
and then
not
you'll
even racing, right?
you'll also probably be stressed out because you'll have
You'll
people tailgating you. Like, people are going to be wanting to get around you because they will be faster than you, even if you have a fast car. If you've never been on track before, they'll be faster than you in certain spots.
And you'll be a massive danger to the track because you won't know how to point them by to let them pass. You won't know where to pull over to let them pass you safely.
Yeah.
And people in high-level groups are aggressive with each other because they have a level of trust in the other drivers. So if you don't know what you're doing, it's going to be a huge hazard.
Yeah. And we saw someone crash really bad without even another car like really around them or causing it last time we were at the track because they were in the wrong group. They went in a high-level group their first time. They had a fast car, and they completely totaled it.
Yeah, had no idea.
$100,000 car.
Had no idea what they were doing with it.
No. And even though I rode along with Jet on 2 track days, probably like 3 or 4 sessions before ever racing myself, even doing the beginner group, there's still a whole bunch of stuff that I learned and was like, oh, I got to pay attention to this. Oh, I got to do this. And then driving is completely different than riding along. So totally worth it.
Yeah.
Pick the correct group. Don't be cocky or anything. Just pick the right group. It'll make it more fun anyways.
Absolutely. And then the last big topic for signing up is a transponder. Most groups you can rent a transponder, which is a lap timer for $20. It's a little box with a hole in it to zip tie somewhere on your car. We recommend them just because they're going to give you, lap times based off that track from the track using their telemetry system, which means it's super accurate. Kind of cool to compare. But if you don't want to spend the $20, there's lots of apps. There's other stuff. We can hand it over to our man Josh here. Can give you some ideas of stuff you can use.
Yeah, we have P-Gears, one that we've used before. It's really accurate, like 99.99% accurate, and really easy to use, super user-friendly. It does video footage as well. It's a great product in our opinion.
Yeah, we have a good video on that too. We'll link up here.
Check it out.
P-Gear is definitely really good, and there's some other options. If it's your first time, like Josh said, we like P-Gear, but if it's your first time, the $20 transponder is definitely going to be probably the cheapest way to go. That's easy to do, and you rent it at the track, you get it, pick it up in the morning, give it back at the end of the day. If that's your first time, that's probably easy.
But if you plan on going more than just a few times, it's almost worth just getting the P-Gear for the street aspect as well as the track.
Yeah, it's definitely got a lot more benefits to it than a transponder. Prepped your car, it's good to go. You signed up at the track. Just a couple basic things. I mean, it's pretty much just common sense. Don't drive too fast. Don't be a dick. Just find an open spot to park, put your stuff out. It's kind of like your spot to go back to. It's pretty chill. As long as you're not speeding around, it's just a chill hangout, basically.
Yeah, it really is it's a big ego test to be at a track day. And nobody wants to see the guy who's going 40 miles an hour in the pit lane revving his car, because at a track day where everybody is racing their car, nobody's impressed with you.
Honestly.
Yeah, most tracks pit speed is 5 miles an hour or lower. Go slow, be respectful. A lot of people bring their kids, their dogs. The main thing is just have respect, have common sense, be humble, show up on time. Most track days you got to get there really early, 6 or 7 a.m. You want to give yourself plenty of time to get there, get a parking spot, check in, and empty your car. You're going to want to have no floor mats, nothing sitting loose in your car. Yeah, no bowling balls, golf balls.
Dead bodies.
No dead bodies. Exactly.
Unless you put them in the passenger seat for weight distribution.
Exactly.
Buckle them in, then they're fine.
Yeah. Then it's an advantage.
I'll use that for the fast track on the way there.
Exactly. You get to the track quicker.
Yeah, it's a huge thing. Not only if, you're rolling around with a spare tire and all sorts of stuff, you can save a little weight on the car, but you don't want to risk getting your floor mat caught under your gas pedal or anything else crazy. Or, hitting the brakes hard and something flies into your vision or hits you. You don't want that. So just empty the car out. You're going to need to check in. If you rented a transponder, you got to pick it up, sign in on that. There's usually just a handful of things you got to do before you can get to the track, including a driver's meeting. Usually 20 or 30 minutes before your first session of the day, you'll have a driver's meeting where they're just going to go over all the flags, that you can think of there, like a checkered flag, white flag, all the flags you see on a racetrack. They'll let you know about it. They'll let you know how the day is going to run. and
it's a lot of good information too, like stuff you need to know while you're driving. I want to say the meetings vary a little bit depending on who's putting on the event. If you're in the beginner group, you're more likely to have more meetings than other people, and they'll probably go longer. You got to go to all your meetings. They're even going to give you stickers most of the time, and if you didn't go to the meeting and get your sticker, you're not going to be able to race anymore that day. So go to your meetings. It's helpful anyways. Just be ready to like not have a lot of time in between your sessions. It's kind of like race. It's like meeting, race, and so you just barely have enough time to check oil and tire pressures in between. Just be a chill, normal person in the pits. Don't be revving your car and trying to show off. Like, nobody cares.
Yeah, literally.
At the same time, nobody is like also going to be a dick to you. Like, even if all the people there that are really experienced are all like super cool. So it's not like an intimidating thing either. If it's your first time, like, it's just a big old family. Everyone's just chill, so don't mess it up.
Yeah. Another thing to point out in that regard, with tools and stuff, if you don't bring something, there's a 99% chance somebody within the cars around you is going to have what you need. And everybody wants to see everybody have a good time. So like your car breaks, you have an issue, people are most likely going to be down to lend you something. Our last track day, somebody blew out their tire, and Zach brought his full jack, so they borrowed the jack from us to help him change out a spare. Like, we helped get that guy home, which is awesome.
Yeah, so it's just everyone's just helping each other and hanging out for a good time. So don't mess it up.
Don't mess it up.
Once you finally get on the track, again, just a few things, just like at the track. So while you're driving, things you want to pay attention to, because there's going to be a lot, especially if it's your first time. You have to pay attention to the flaggers. They're going to have a whole bunch of different flags they can give you if something's on the track, or if the race is over and you need to start going chill and get off the track. If there's a hazard, all kinds of stuff. So they'll explain that in your meetings, but you need to be able to pay attention to that while at the same time pay attention to driving on the track. So it's a little bit much, but it's another reason to go in the beginner group if you're a beginner, because everyone's going to be doing that. Yeah, everyone's going to be going slow and learning like you. And then you want to pay attention to like probably coolant temperature and RPMs are really the only important things in your car.
Yeah.
And I guess don't run out of gas either.
Yeah.
Check that before you go on the track.
Yeah, what he said. When you're driving, your first lap out, the things you're going to learn is where to enter the track, where to exit. It can actually be a bit more confusing than you'd think.
Yeah.
A lot of tracks have different ways they run them, so there'll be different entrances. So make sure you know where to go. And yeah, when you're on track and you're driving, it's not like Fast and Furious where you're looking down at your gauges and you're reading your laptop. You're barely going to want to look down. So if you want to look down, you want to look at your RPM so you don't over rev the engine, and your coolant temp so you don't overheat the engine. So those are the two real things to pay attention to.
Yeah, your first time, you're not going to be needing to be like, oh, I'm supposed to be 5 miles an hour faster in this corner, or like don't care about it either and be like, oh man, I wanted to be going 90 here. Like, just go at your own pace. Like,
get a feel for it.
Yeah, get a feel for it. And if you want to look down and check something every once in a while, just temperature and RPMs. That's all you need to worry about.
Yeah. Mile an hour is not as big of a thing as people think it is. You really are going by the way you feel when you're on a racetrack. You're not going by, oh, I'm doing 90. I can take the corner at 92. You're going about how it feels with you in the car. That's what you want to pay attention to.
Yeah.
You really only have to pay attention to the gauges that actually matter about hurting your car.
You don't want to blow up on the track, and you don't want to drive off the track. So
yeah,
look where you're going. Look at the flags.
Anyway, especially not on the track.
Yeah. Other than that, brake feel. People will talk about brake fade. I've never actually felt it, but I think it would be pretty dang obvious. You felt it before, right? Yeah,
we're going back to the whole upgrading your brake pads. Your first track day, you're probably not going to be going balls out crazy, so it won't be a huge deal.
Yeah.
But when you get better, or if you get comfortable quick, you're going to start pushing your braking zones a lot harder. You're going to be braking a lot harder than you ever have on the street, and most brakes will overheat in a 20-minute session.
Once they start overheating, they're not going to work.
They're not going to work, and you'll be able to feel it. You'll go from a hard, firm pedal, it'll feel soft and spongy. And if you start to feel that on your car, take your next lap, take all your braking half as hard as you would before, go very easy. And if it doesn't go away, you need to pull off the track and check it out, because brakes are nothing to mess around with.
Same if you feel anything else super obvious with your car. You're like, oh, that's weird. Now it's going like this, or it's lumpy, or, it's pulling really hard to the left the whole time. Like, get off the track.
Don't send it.
Like,
so the one instance, don't send it.
Yeah, start going a little slower and get off the next point you can. Don't stop in the track, though. Don't pull off the side, but take it easy until you can get to the exit.
Yeah.
And get off and check your car out and see what's up.
Yeah, sudden lack of power, all that good stuff. Another one that is pretty common is if you have a torque wrench. I know a lot of people don't have a nice big torque wrench. Before your first session, you want to check the torque on all your lug nuts on your wheels. and then maybe before your second session. You want to wait for the car to cool down after the first session, and then maybe 10-20 minutes before your second session of the day I would check them again, because again, you're putting a lot more heat through your brakes, your tires, your wheels, and lug nuts can back out. It's a good idea to check. It's just a safety thing, but if you've checked them by your second session and it doesn't seem to be, if everything's still tight, then you're good to go.
Yeah, and honestly, even like a Harbor Freight torque wrench for like $14 is worth it for that, because you don't want a wheel to come off. It's worth $15 or whatever to not have a wheel come off.
Yeah.
And like Jed was saying, just don't check them hot, because your brakes get really hot. It's going to heat up everything in the middle of your wheel. So don't check them right when you come off the track. You could check tire pressures right when you get off, because you don't want them to be like too high. I know we heard about someone having their tires at like 40 something and like losing it off the track. So
yeah. I guess that's another thing we haven't really talked about, is that whatever your manufacturer tire specs are for your car, you're going to want to put them a couple PSI lower to go onto the track, because, on the road, your tires might heat up 2-3 PSI, but on the track, they'll hit up 6, 10 PSI even. You want the tires when they're on the track to be running at the temperature that's in the door or wherever it is on your car. Yeah. So tire pressure is hugely important, because you're running too much tire pressure, you start losing traction, that's dangerous. Not enough tire pressure, the car can get sloppy, also not good.
Whatever your car says to put them at, or whatever you normally drive them at, drive to the track with them at that, and then when you get there before you race, maybe drop them 2 or 3 PSI. And if you have a tire pressure gauge, you can get another one of those for a little cheap too. Just check them after your session, and you can see they're going to be higher.
Yeah.
And just see what they are, and then you can keep lowering them just like a PSI or so if you need to. But start 2 or 3 lower than normal, whatever normal is for your car.
Yeah, and all these things just take experience. After you've done a couple track days, you get it all down, you get a rhythm, you figure out, what you need to do, what you want to do, what's more important for your car than might be for somebody else's, because everything's different. You'll see some people show up in a Miata that they drive there with no tools, and you'll see guys show up in an F-250 with a Miata on the back and an entire team with them. Yeah. So everybody's different. Everybody's needs are different at the track day. So you got to kind of figure it out for yourself.
Hopefully this video helps you at least get a good starting point. Like we were saying, my first track day ever was in the Integra with 1/3 miles on it. I had a lot of help from Jet to get ready for that, but we just did the basic stuff. Just do some service on your car, make sure your tires and brakes are good, sign up, show up, respect everybody, be cool about everything. Be early to your race, because you got to line up, and then be on time to your meetings, and you'll have a good time. It'll be fun. And just drive at your own pace. And if you're starting out, you're going to be in a beginner group. Everyone's going to be going a similar pace to you, so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
The better you get, the more you'll move up in groups and everything.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to ask questions in your meetings. If you have issues or you have concerns, just ask them.
Even people at the track are cool with person next to you might have been to 15 track days at that place. You got something, ask them, ask someone that works there. But yeah, definitely start with the people giving your meetings or whatever.
And usually if you have a question, someone else has the same question. So you'll probably be helping the collective group out and make your race overall better.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty fun though. It's not as intimidating as I thought it would be. So if you want to do a track day,
chances are
make sure it's safe and do it.
Exactly. Chances are, if you've never tracked your car, no mods are going to make you faster. Only you driving the car is going to make you faster.
Yeah.
The thing that you should be spending money on if you get committed to doing track days is more track days, not modifications.
My first track day, I cut 15 seconds off of my times just from driving the track for 4 different sessions.
Literally 15 seconds of improvement. I mean, even me on a track like that, I think I had a 6 or 7 second spread of improvement across the day because I'd never driven it.
Yeah, you just get better driving.
If I don't do anything to my car, he doesn't do anything to his car, and we go back, we'd probably both shave a couple seconds, if not maybe even 5. It's all about experience. It's not about modifications, so don't go crazy with your car. Just have a good time.
That's our video to sum it up. If you're thinking about tracking your car, I'd say do it. It's fun. Just make sure it's safe and fairly reliable and not going to blow up, and then go sign up and go hang out and have a good track day.
Hell yeah.
And if you got any questions, comments, anything else, throw it at the bottom of the video.
Down below.
Down there.
Peace.
Peace.
FBI, open up.
Inspector.
FBI, how much?
Oh, Zach, I love watching you work.
I think we need higher pressure gauge for Jet. He's losing a lot of air.
Yeah, I think you need some WD-40 too. Oh shit.
Can anyone even hear me on my microphone?
Jed, are you in here?
Hello?
Nope. All right, we're
If
good.
there was a jet in here, I think we would hear it.
Like yell, like be like, ah!
Be like,
Yeah, see, it's a big